All right, EJ Tackett, the #1 seed for the World Championship, looking for your 4th straight World Championship title. 66 games down, I feel like you're sitting right in the position you wanted to be in. Describe the emotions you're feeling at this point, just exhaustion, elation, I don't know, somewhere in between.
Yeah, I'm going to go with all the above. Yeah, this is the position that I always want to be in. It's what you strive for, and giving yourself that guaranteed opportunity to win a championship. It's always where I want to be, and fortunate to get back to that position.
You've been leading the World Championship for, it feels like, about 45 games here. Never relinquished it at any point. Kris Prather made a really strong charge there at the end, and if you would have lost that position round, you would have dropped to the 2 seed. Describe the intensity of that situation and bowling for the 1 seed in the last game.
Yeah, Kris bowled unbelievable. There were some guys that made some big charges and big runs in this block tonight. Bill bowled great. Belmo had a big run there in the middle. He fell off a little bit, but nonetheless, it was still, I think he got to within 30 or 40 pins of me at one point, which was incredible. So there was a lot of guys coming. Luckily, the last couple of games, I was able to win the matches. Throw a couple good shots in key moments to keep that lead. And then the last game with Kris, I felt like we both bowled a really good game and could have gone either way. It really could have. The shot that Kris threw in the 10th frame was that's about as good as you can throw a bowling ball, and it's very unfortunate. But I had something go my way. Sometimes it goes that way, and sometimes it doesn't. And fortunately for me, I was on the good side of it this time. But it was a match for sure. Like I said, I think we both threw a lot of really good shots, and definitely could have gone either way.
I want to go back a couple of games to Games 4 and Games 5. I'm not sure if you're looking super close at the numbers necessarily, but I'm sure you could tell Belmo just had a big game in Game 4. He did shoot 300 that game. The next game, you're struggling, squeak out 170 in a loss, and he shoots 260, booms a couple feet away from you. What are you feeling in that moment?
I knew I was still in the lead, but I was upset that I'd bowled so good up to that point. To relinquish all of that lead in a single game was a big letdown. It was disappointing, but I also knew that there's still 3 more games to bowl. No matter what, I still have an opportunity, and I have that #1 seed. Is if I go do what I'm supposed to do, then someone's going to have to bowl really well to beat me. I did what I was supposed to do, and someone was right there on my heels. So I always try to remind everyone that these are the best players in the world, and nothing comes easy. And that proved absolutely true today.
All right, you are now 1 game away from history, and that itself feels like an understatement. But you're going to have to wait a month to bowl that game. How do you – I'm sure you're going to go to sleep every night thinking to some degree this is going to cross your mind. How do you plan to spend the next month?
Well, we're going to be moving into our new house. We have to bowl nationals and come back and probably continue to keep moving into that house. So my mind will be occupied. Definitely find some time to go practice, stay sharp, and be able to go bowl open championships and get some competitive games in between now and then too. I think that will definitely help. Kind of stay in that competitive mode, and I'll be as ready as I possibly can.
All right, I haven't done my full research into this yet, but was looking around at some top athletes and whether or not they've won 4 majors in a row. Tiger never did it. Serena never did it. No bowler has ever done it. Federer and Nadal are freaks and did it multiple times. But do you have a chance to do something that no one has ever done in this sport? How excited are you for that opportunity?
It's cool, but the job's not done. So it's great that I have the opportunity, and I've given myself that, but job's not finished. And I have to come in like I have every other time with full focus and be as ready as I possibly can, and go bowl one good game and hope it's good enough to hoist a trophy at the end of the day.
All right, we're going to be going to Thunder Bowl, Strobel Arena for the finals. So you have a lot of history there. You won this event in 2024 there. I believe your first television title was in Strobel Arena. How special is that place for you?
Detroit's it's really cool. There's a lot of history there. The first World Series was held there. A lot of PBA events have been held in that building over the years. USBC events as well. So it's a pretty special place. Tom Strobel was a special guy and loved bowling, loved the PBA, and it was nice that after his passing they were able to dedicate the arena to him. So yeah, it is a pretty special place, and if you go further back when it was first built, and why it was built is also very cool, and it just adds, there's, like I said, there's so much history in that arena, and I don't know, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, the last time we were there didn't go maybe the way you wanted there with that 10-pin.
Yeah, like I say, I threw a good shot. I wouldn't take it back. Sometimes they go down, sometimes they don't. So hopefully, I get in a position where I have that opportunity again, and who knows? Maybe it'll go my way this time.
All right, you got 2 more chances to win a title here in Minneapolis, Scorpion and Shark. What do you need to do over the next couple of days to prepare yourself to run those brackets and win 1, maybe 2 titles here?
Yeah, it's we're going to go to a different location. The practice in a couple of days. Tomorrow's definitely going to be a day off. I'm not going to bowl. Probably going to do some laundry and just lay around. And then Friday go in and get some good practice in. Try to figure out the differences in the lane surface from here to the show location. Drill balls if need be, and you get the right balls around, you get the right shapes, and and then it's go execute and bowl the best game I possibly can.
All right, last question for you here. I can see it on your face, but describe for those that aren't out here and don't understand the grind of 66 games in 11 days or in 6 days. Not to mention all the extra history that's on the line here. Just the grind of having to perform at your best all day, every day for 6 days.
Yeah, it's I've been a part of a lot of World Series. They're normally kind of grinding because there is so many games, and that's a part of the World Series bowling. Last year in Reno was a physical one because there was so many games so quickly. I know it was over a long period of time, but when the shows came around, there was a lot of bowling to the show, and I was able to make them all. So there was a lot of physical exhaustion with what went on last year at the World Series. This World Series, obviously, it's always physically demanding because there are so many games, but I felt like how different this building was, lane to lane and side to side. The mental aspect of this World Series was probably the toughest one that I've ever been a part of. And I think that's where the exhaustion is coming from most players, is just on the mental side, because we had to be so focused on what each pair was doing, each lane was doing, each side was doing. You saw a lot of people, including myself, using 2 different balls on the lanes or playing the lanes 5 to 10 boards different. So there was a lot of brain capacity being used during this World Series, and like I said, I think it's on that side of it, it's the toughest one I've ever been a part of.
All right, EJ Tackett, we'll see you bowling for the World Championship title.
Thank you.
All right, Kris Prather, number 2 seed for the AMF PBA World Championship Finals. You made a really strong late push there for the number 1 seed. What are your thoughts going into that position round game, knowing you only need a 6-pin win to tie EJ for the 7-pin lead to steal the 1 seed.
Yeah, honestly, pretty crazy. I felt like EJ's kind of dominated the whole week, but I feel like I've done a really good job of keeping myself within striking distance. I just bowled a great game on that pair. Just had 240, so I felt like I really knew what was going on. I was just hoping to, kind of do the same thing, execute. I knew if I executed that I was going to at least give myself a chance to win the game. But obviously you're bowling EJ and he's bowling phenomenal. So, you got to make sure that you bring your A game. And unfortunately, I bowled really well. Pins just didn't quite cooperate for me there towards the end, but happy with the 2 seed for sure.
Third time getting the 2 seed this week. What was working so well for you throughout the week? Like you said, it felt like EJ was dominating, but every time you look at the standings, you're within 80, within 100. At one point earlier in the day, I looked up and I saw EJ, I think, had like 1190 for his first 5 games this morning, and I was like, oh, I think he's running away with it. And I look over and you had 1187 or something like that. How were you able to just stay on his heels and just keep putting pressure on him?
Yeah, I felt like I had a really good look on the lanes. I felt like I had some really good notes on the pairs and how they were playing different, and just keeping up with, who had bowled there in front of me and what they were doing. And, our reps were really helpful with, just having that information quickly. And, I was just committed to what I was doing, and I felt like I was just 100% committed to every shot, whether I needed to make a ball change, whether I needed to move zones. I just went ahead and did it, felt right, trusted my gut, and, thankfully a lot of times I was right this week.
All right, you're 2 games away from a major title here. You got a long way to wait, though. How do you obviously have a couple animal pattern shows to get you through here while we're in Minnesota. How are you feeling about the next week and month before you move forward?
Yeah, I'm excited for the next week for sure. I think I'm more excited for tomorrow to have a little bit of rest after 66 games in the 6 days. But, I'm excited. I feel like my game's in a really good spot right now. So just going to try to keep staying sharp over the next, few, 3-4 days that I have until my TV shows. And then, obviously we'll be grinding when we're back home, making sure that, I stay sharp for the TV show in about, a month or so? So, yeah.
All right, last one for you here. Your boy Darren Tang on the show.
Yeah.
How you were one of his closest friends. I think one of the strongest advocates for him making the switch. How cool is it to see your friend make a show here?
Yeah, I jokingly and also not jokingly told him that I wouldn't bowl the doubles tournament if he didn't go two-handed. It's really, really cool to see how far he's come. There's definitely been some bumps in the road, but I told him, it's a big learning curve, and you're doing it at the highest level as well. So, as painful as some of those days were, to see the growth that he's had is pretty remarkable. Obviously I was trying to focus on my own game there the last game and try to get that 1 seed, but I heard him scream after he struck there in the 10th. So I knew something good was happening. So I got the word once my game was done that he had made the show. So I was super happy for him, and that definitely lifted my spirits a little bit after that 9-pin in the 10th there.
All right, Kris Prather, we'll see you a couple times here in Minnesota on CBS Sports Network, and we'll see you in June on
All right,
Big
appreciate
CBS.
it. Thanks, Nolan.
All right, Bill O'Neill, number 3 seed for the World Championship Finals. It's been a long week. How are you feeling at this point?
I'm feeling really happy and relieved to be the 3 seed for sure. Physically, I'm exhausted. This is one of the longest weeks of my life. A lot of games, a lot of time in the bowling center. Legs are jello, but got it done. I bowled really well tonight, except for whenever I shot the 3-6-10. I felt like someone was pushing me on the way to the line every time I shot that spare for some reason. But everything else was good, and so pretty happy to be a 3 seed for sure.
Yeah, it came down to you dropped down, I believe, outside of the top 4, and you made a charge to get back into the top 4. Won a couple games against Belmo down the stretch there. How were you able to get the job done at the end in games 64, 65, 66?
Yeah, just trusted myself, trusted my ball reaction. I knew I had a good reaction. I knew where I had to throw it. I had a pretty good idea, lane to lane, what I should be doing. This is a really, really tricky bowling center pair to pair, but we've been here a long time, so we had a lot of information on the lane. So I felt pretty confident when I was going to the next pair what each lane was going to do. And so it was just about executing, making good shots. And I really wasn't looking at the scores too much. I was just trying to win every game. Every game I was bowling, and I knew if I just kept winning matches, I was going to be in a good spot.
Bit of a different question here. In the battles at the end here, it's you and Belmo and EJ and Vi, and then obviously Prather back here, and a rookie in Brandon Bonta. What have you made of his performance this season, and being 20 years younger than you and keeping up with you guys and beating you guys week to week here?
He's an incredible bowler. He doesn't throw a whole lot of bad shots. He's a good spare shooter. He's just a really, really good player. You don't really see that type of poise and composure and versatility in a player this young when they first come out. And to be able to make as many shows as he has and be in the hunt for other shows it's really, really impressive.
You still got another chance to win a title here in the Cheetah Championship. Mm-hmm. How do you kind of reset over these next few days and go attack a cheetah down at Lucky Strike Lakeville?
Yeah. First of all, I'm going to do absolutely nothing tomorrow. That's first on the docket. Is just maybe go find a sauna to sit in for a little while and just try to let my body recover, and then then we'll practice on Friday and just try to see what the lanes are like at the other center, and just keep an open mind and go from there.
All right, last question. Have you seen the score of the game? You know which game I'm talking about.
The Sixers game?
Yes.
I knew the score of the game before the game started. So I told Kevin Williams, he asked me if he should bet the money line, and I said no. I said take the points. I said they'll cover, they're not going to win. And so that's what happened.
All righty. Bill O'Neill, number 3 seed for the World Championship.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
All right, Kris Prather, a bit out of nowhere, jumps into the final show as the number 4 seed for the AMF World Championship. How were you able to get it done down the stretch?
Honestly, just a bunch of good shots towards the end. I bowled on maybe 2 of the worst pairs, consistently worst pairs. As I say that, I do know that Belmo bowled 300 on 5 and 6, but whatever. But my average on 5 and 6 was maybe 198, and I was just like, all right, if we're gonna make any kind of charge here, we have to take it to the next level and just be focused as possible. And at one point I was exerting so much energy that I got a little dizzy in about the 7th or 8th frame and had to regroup and reset. But yeah, then against Bonta in the position round, 15 and 16 had been just nasty. And I was like, we have to throw elite level shots here and just hope that the pins fall over, and they cooperated for me.
You were down 60 to Belmo going into that last game. 30 bonus pins, obviously can swing that in a hurry. Are you score watching there, or are you just focused on yourself? What are you doing?
I typically don't score watch, but then when I had the front 6 or 7 or whatever it was, and I saw Belmo was struggling, I was like, okay, this could be a thing. I could catch him. And then I wrapped a dime in the 7th frame, and I think he got up and split or missed the head pin. So my confidence level immediately went through the roof, because I was like, okay, this is real. He's struggling. I just need to keep throwing really good shots and hope that the 10 pin cooperates. Every time I missed, it felt like it was a wrap 10 or a flat 10. So as long as it was falling over, I was, hopeful, right?
All right, you've won a couple majors in your career. You climbed the ladder at the TOC. And you won the World Championship from the top seed. So you've proven that you can get it done. Now you just have to climb the ladder in the World Championship. How excited are you for this opportunity to win 4 matches for a major?
It's always exciting to be on TV, right? I got Cheetah and I have Scorpion as well this week. The unfortunate news is that the TV show's a month from now in a different bowling center that all of the guys that I'm going to have to bowl against have bowled in before. Well, maybe. It depends on who wins. If Bonta wins the ladder on the other show, then that might be the only way. But that I bowl somebody that hasn't bowled in there before. But I'm looking forward to just getting the opportunity, right? That was my entire goal, was to make this second show, because I didn't even want to have to worry about the other step ladder. I just wanted to focus on, whoever's the 3 people ahead of me, and just try to come up with a game plan.
You've had a smile on your face throughout the week here. I know keeping a positive energy has been a real focus of yours in recent years, but particularly this year. In a grind like the World Series, 66 games in 6 days, the lanes were so hard. But differences pair to pair and all that. How important was that kind of mindset to your success this week?
It was massive, honestly. Like, Francois actually gave me some really good, like, I don't know if it would be advice, but more like insight. He has been, like, changing his mental view out here as well and focusing more on what he can control. And instead of looking at score as, like, a way to dictate how he bowled, he focuses more on his execution, how he's reading the lanes, the choices he makes. And we talked about that early on in the season and again here at the World Series. And I was just like, man, that makes so much sense. Like, you can't control what anybody else does. So if I can just focus on the choices that I have to make and my execution shot to shot, then I can go home and leave here happy no matter if I'm in 110th or if I'm leading the tournament. And being able to fill my energy cup with positivity has been just like really the only way that I've been, like, negotiating with my body to find the strength to, like, push through and, like, stay focused through these long mental grinds.
All right, you almost climbed a ladder a few weeks ago here. Fortunately for you, Austin Grammer is not awaiting you anywhere. How do you prepare for these next few days? I'm assuming you're going to need some time off here. You bring your fishing pole? You're going to go relax on a lake somewhere?
No, I think me, Kris, and Darren are just going to go find a card shop. We might go to Mall of America tomorrow, and I'm just really looking forward to sleeping in. I had no alarm tomorrow. I'm just going to sleep as long as I possibly can and eat some really good food, I hope.
All right, rooming with Kris Prather and Darren Tang, 3 guys on the show here.
Yeah.
Must be something special in the water at your hotel or Airbnb.
Yeah, honestly, it's how we communicate. Like, we don't even really talk about bowling. Like, if one of us struggles, then we'll, like, discuss it and kind of game plan to fix it for the next block. But most of the time, it's just, like, really chill and just, not even anti-bowling, just focusing on the other parts of life, the other aspects that we enjoy in life, and just laughing a lot, honestly.
All right, Kris Prather, number 4 seed for the World Champ. We'll see you in Thunder Bowl in June.
Yeah, see you guys later.
All right, Jason Belmonte, number 5 seed for the PBA World Championship Finals. Maybe not the seed you wanted. You made a brief run there for the top seed. How are you feeling here settling into the 5 seed for the World Championship?
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to accept it. I got really close and was definitely making a bit of a run. And then, I caught a couple of games, one against Sterner, which I thought, I probably bowled a lot better than my score and left a really weird 9-pin, which ended up costing me the match. So you win that one, get the 30 there, and then you're going into the next one. Still had a chance to beat Bill in the second to last game. Pocket 7-10 to lose that one. So it just felt like if it was going to punch me in the head, it could have waited a little longer. But it punched me right in the head right when I was making a run. So, but ultimately, I think it was this morning's block that cost me that run at the top seed. I had a horrible night's sleep the night before. Just wasn't feeling great. Came out and bowled that way. So I'm a bit annoyed because I pride myself on fighting through those sessions, and I just didn't do that very well. So I've been doing this forever, and I'm still learning, still trying to get better. But I am happy that I've made the show, and this isn't the first time for a major championship that I've had to bowl 2 shows to win. So the first job is to get that animal pattern done, and then move over to the major and just win that first match in Detroit, and then you never know what's going to happen after that.
I wanted to touch a little bit more on the run. You shoot 300, and then the next game you shoot double in the 10th to win the match. Shoot 260, and EJ is right there shooting 170. Describe the intensity of those moments when you're making a run. The guy you're trying to beat is right there. He's struggling a little bit, and you can feel like, all right, here we go. This is my chance to kind of make a run. What are those emotions like in that time, and how do you not let the thoughts get too far ahead of yourself?
No, I'm not thinking about leading at that point. I went into a bit of a flow state there for a few games, and the way I felt this whole World Series though was, when my ball wasn't quite right, really punished me. I leave a lot of splits, like a lot, and I think that the hard thing is to kind of accept the splits on good shots. So with lane transitions and whatnot, you just, trying to just get away with a 4-pin. Okay, let me move off of that. But it was always 5 or 6 through the face. And that's what really took the wind out of your sails. So, yeah, in those moments, I don't care who's bowling well. I don't care who's bowling bad. What I'm focused on is just, getting that ball down the lane the way that I wanted to. And, I feel like, I caught a couple of really nice pairs. And then the last 3 pairs for me were just, they were really tricky. And, just the slightest change for me was resulted in maximum penalty. So it's hard to beat these guys when, you can't turn those circles into just 9 spares.
All right, last one for you. I'm assuming you'll be heading home to Australia before this in this month break before the World Championship finals. You gonna use that time to recharge and come back here back at 100%?
Yeah, I mean, once this tournament is done for the animal patterns, I'll get an opportunity to get back on a plane, go back home, and every time I go back home, it's how I recharge. It's how I recover from being over here and isolated. So very much looking forward to getting that home cooked dinner and seeing my kids and my wife, and then just do my best when I come back.
All right, Jason, number 5 seed for the World Championship. We'll see you there.
Thank you, Nolan.